Hi, Madmable77 here, video 4 of my newbie challenge, well not my newbie challenge, my newbie journey. After last night's video, I've had a few questions regarding newbie picks. I had planned on doing my first SPP video tonight, but for two reasons I'm going to let that one go. Just for a day or two, mainly because this lock that Janio sent me is an absolute pig. It crunches more than a bag of walkers when I sit on them. And it's going to have to be opened reverse and all sorts of things, so I'm going to have a little play with that before I do it. I do want it to be the first SPP lock I pick on camera because it was the first one I sent. However, tonight I'm going to cover more all the picks out there. You know, people are getting confused by all the picks that come in the sets, what they need, what they really don't need, what the individual picks are for, all the different shapes and styles, etc. Now, I don't profess to know everything, but I shall try and tell you what I know. So here we go. I mean, I'm just going to have to pick the camera up a second, so give me a second. Now I'm going to start here with what we call the hook family. I've got some varying hooks there. Starting from up here is a medium hook. This is what is equivalent to a short hook. That's actually a medium hook filed to short. Those two picks, if I'm perfectly honest, if you're a hook man, will open 90% of the locks. You could use those two picks along with a lock like that for months and not have to buy or use anything else. Next to that is a couple more varying hooks in different thicknesses, which I'll come to shortly. I've grouped these four in the middle because what we have here is part of a £9 Gosso set that I got, and we've got, as you can probably see, a very short curved hook, a medium curved hook, a longer curved hook, and a small diamond. Now, to be honest, if you were to go out and buy a similar set to the Gosso set, they do need a little finishing, but those four picks you could learn 4 months and not ever need another pick. To be honest, even the long hook here, I don't think I've ever had cause to use that. The short and the medium are by far enough, but they are out there. We've also got the diamond. Again, when you hear people talk about what their favourite tool is, you will often people often fall into two categories. They're either a hook man or a diamond man. We'll come on to them shortly. Next along, you might often hear people talking about DeForest diamonds or curved picks. They're here. I shall talk to you about what those do later. Then we have the ball, twin, half, 5 balls. All the same really. They're mainly for wafer locks and raking. I shall talk to you a little bit about that. Then we've got the rake family, going from a bow guitar to snake rakes and L rakes and the prince and princess on the end. And then we have tension tools of various thicknesses. I'll come into why that is shortly. And top of the keyway tools. So that's your basic kit. I shall put you back down now and just talk through some of the things that we need to. Let me get the camera in the right position again. Right, as I was saying, when it comes to the hooks, I'm going to try and be quick here. Most people can pick most locks with these hooks of 3 different graduations. That is really all you need. There are other hooks out there, but as a newbie you won't really be needing them. It's only when you get to more spectacular locks you're going to start having trouble getting round pins, etc. And to be honest, once your experience gets to a level where you're attacking locks like that, you'll understand what type of pick you need more. Because you will understand how, you know, as your experience goes up, you just understand these things better. It's kind of hard to explain. These are the curved picks I was saying about. You've got a curved pick and what is known as a DeForest diamond, and if you look on the backboard there, I have got some real bad art drawings, and basically this is how we would come to choose a pick. Firstly, we need to make sure the shaft of the pick goes in the keyway. As you can see in that big lock, that goes in nicely. In that lock, it goes in nicely. However, I have got some picks where the shaft is a little bit thicker, and when we get to tighter locks like this, as you can see, it struggles to go in, and even if I get it in, the shaft is pushing up on these pins and setting them. So you have to pay attention to shaft size, but in general, if you can get the pick comfortably in the lock, you can pick it. And as I say, normally we would come along and we would pick these pins as such, and as you can see I can pick those pins no problem. However, when it comes to pin 2 and pin 5, it's difficult for me to get up there, and if I do try and get up there, as you can see I'm now pushing pin 1 up, and I may overset him or he may cause me problems without knowing. So this, in an extreme bitting like this, would be where a curved pick, or this is the deforest, sorry, this would be where a deforest pick would come in, so you can curve around that pin and get to the higher pin, or the curved pick, which is pretty much the same, enables you to curve around those lower pins and get up. So when you hear people talking about deforest diamonds and curved picks, that's really what they're talking about, these two picks here. And that's what they're really used for. Although, as I say, most locks you don't really need those picks until you start getting to real good locks. Most cheaper locks you'll be able to get enough height with the hooks. I mean, as you can see here, I wouldn't be able to get up there with the small hook, but if I could manage to get that medium hook in there, then I can probably work my way around that pin and get up there. It's only when they're really high you will need the curved hooks. Again, I'll talk about a little bit about the shafts and stuff. No matter whether it's a hook, a diamond or anything, this piece of the shaft here to here, it needs to be narrow enough for you to be able to insert into the keyway without pushing on these pins as you insert. As you can see, they taper slightly, so as you push it in, it has the tendency to push these pins up and they can get overset. So when it comes to pick choice, it really is down to personal preference, and it's down to the type of lock. If you've got a wide open keyway like this, a thicker pick with a higher curve will probably fit. On keyways like this, which you'll often hear called paracentric or Y1 keyways, they have a slight curve to them, meaning you often have to pick them from up here on the warding. You need a pick with a much narrower, what we call throw, much less distance between the tip of the pick and the bottom of the pick to enable it to get into those pins. Again, if you've got 2 or 3 different graduations of hook, that will come with experience. You'll kind of get to know when you're putting the picks in and oversetting things. In general, if you can get the pick in without hitting and setting any other pins, that's great. Now, I'm a hook man, but I wish, to be honest, when I started I'd have gone with the diamond, because the more I've learnt about it, the more I love this pick. Most of our picking motion as we go in is up and down in a motion like this, trying not to interfere with the pins and individually manipulating each pin. Now what I like with the diamond is you can slide it in, as you can see, because of the graduation. When I hit pin 1, I'm not actually touching him, but as I slowly push him forward, I don't have to go up and down. As I slowly push him forward, the front of that diamond raises the pin in a really controlled manner. And we can often set him without having to do any lifting up and down. If we get him to the point of the diamond and he still hasn't set, then we can just lift him up a little bit higher until he sets. You can remove all this from your picking by just using a diamond. Most of the pick and motions you'll see people do, as I say, they will go in and you will see tiny up and down motions or a scrubbing motion, or as I say with the diamonds, you can just go straight in and straight out on the pins. So that just about covers picks. I shall come on to rakes in a second. There's not really much to say with rakes. They are what they are. However, tension tool choice is a big thing no matter what you're doing. Basically, you've got 2 choices. You have bottom of the keyway, which will be your typical windshield wiper, bent windshield wiper, and you have top of the keyway, which are these pry bars. As a newbie with wide open locks, you don't tend to need top of the keyway. I would, however, get yourself a decent set of bottom of the keyway tension tools like this of varying thicknesses, but on top of that also you can see they have curved ends that come up that you put into the locks, varying lengths of those as well. And I say varying lengths because it's a very personal thing, but when you pick up a lock you see which tension tool comfortably fits, and this will depend on whether you're raking or SPPing. In general, for me, if I'm raking, I try to use top of the keyway, because when I'm raking with any rake, such as these, what I'm doing is I'm going in and scrubbing the pins like this, but I'm also doing the angles like this. So what I don't want is a bottom of the keyway tension tool being right deep in the lock, because it robs me of this angle. So I want it to be as short as possible. Personally, I use top of the keyway, which gives me the whole bottom of the lock, to change angles and try and set those pins. However, single pin picking, you can get away with using a longer bottom of the keyway tension tool, because you're trying to pick those pins one at a time, and you don't necessarily need so much of this, because the hook or the diamond is getting the lift for you. Now I hope that just about covers a few more things on the list. As I say, I'm not the best picker, but I mean, I'm hoping that will cover a few things. And there was one more thing someone said about the ball pick. Why is it really useful? Well, I've really had no use to use this. It's really designed for what we call wafer locks. Those are locks like these, rather than that, just think of them as a pin tumbler lock. In general, rather than a pin, they have a metal wafer with a hole in the middle. When you put the key in, these wafers move up and down and drop into the keys, bitting the same as a pin. Now, because the wafers are quite wide, you can actually lift them with a hook very easily, but this tool is designed to go in and rake those wafers to make them jump up and down, the same as a rake, and set them. So any of the ball family you see, half ball, 5 ball, this is what they're generally used for. Personally, I would just use a hook to go in and set them. Don't be scared of wafer locks, they're actually an easier version of a pin tumbler. Thanks a lot. I know this is running at 11 minutes, so I'll leave you now. I hope that's cleared up a few questions. Any more, please get back to me as soon as you can, and we shall speak to you soon. Bye bye.